About as ready as I'll ever be. Let me light a candle so that God can hear us. So you're going to take the lead in this one, right? Okay. Oh, please don't start a fire. Yeah, let's do that. Because my gran was like, you need to pretend that you're alone. Yeah. But I'm not alone, I'm with you.
Welcome to another insightful and absolutely awesome episode of our podcast, What We Don't Say, with your favorite girl, Pretty. And remember, don't roll alone. I do have my girl, Belina. And we are here to bring you, of course, another controversial topic. And today we will be discussing support structures and basically highlighting the companionships. Therapy, is it a scam, luxury, or lifeline? So we'll be entering a little bit more into that. And you know how we do here. But like I said, I don't roll alone. Belina, how are you doing today, my love?
I am just okay. I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing quite well. It's been quite a week, and I know it's only Tuesday, right? But the weather's awesome. It's raining on our side of town.
Oh, it's raining here as well.
So always take that as a beautiful blessing. But yeah, I'm good. I'm good, man. And how's your Tuesday?
My Tuesday is, well, I love rainy days when you can just kind of have an excuse to not go out. So rainy evenings are just, it's nice to be that blessing of having, a warm bed and, candlelight. I'm into that sort of thing. So my Tuesday's ending really beautifully. I'm chatting to you, one of my favorite people, so it's nice.
Hello, darling. You always say the sweetest of things. Well, today actually, and I like the fact that you highlighted how the weather makes you feel, because of course our podcast is all about your feelings and your emotions, and uncovering depression and all its aspects. And I think today just touching on support structures, and all these different things that we need and utilize in order for us to get to our happy, whatever happy looks like in our eyes. And remember, my reality is not always your reality, but it doesn't make it any less of peace. It doesn't mean that it gives you any less of peace just because it is different from my reality. So, Lina, I remember this conversation, this topic rather. It draws me back to our conversation that we had the other day about your friends drowning and the part you play, especially when it comes to friendships, when your friend is drowning. And by drowning, I mean whether they're going through depression, or any other, whether it's suicidal thought, whatever it might be. What is it? What part do you play as a friend? And I remember we spoke and we said that it's not about you saving my life. It's just you being there with an extra tank so I can save myself. So I think it's very important for us to understand the roles each and every person plays in our lives and how they can help us with our healing process. I mean, when we talk about support structures, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Well, the immediate thing that would come to mind is family. And I'll say that I'm pretty blessed with my family. We are a crazy bunch, but when proverbial shit hits the fan, sorry, I know we're not supposed to swear, but I've already said masturbation on this thing, so like it can't get much worse. When the proverbial shit hits the fan, it's my family, chosen or divinely made, so that I call to kind of regroup. So that's what comes to mind when I think about support structures. How about you?
Support structures. I think of people in general, whether they're there for a reason or for a season. And I think it's because a lot of the people who have helped me through a lot of my dark times weren't always family, and not because family wasn't there, but it's because at that moment, you know, we go through stuff in life, and sometimes it's about the people around you at that specific time, whether it's a friend or it's a neighbor, a colleague, or whatever the case might be. And for me, immediately I think of support structures, I immediately envision all these people that have helped me, family or not, through those different periods. I don't have, I don't, I, For me, it's not long term, and it's never been long term, because I do feel as if different eras in your life require a different you, and a different you attract different people. So it's very it's very common that, you know, the person who you befriended during high school is not probably the person who you're going to end up being friends with 10 years from now. And a lot of people can argue and debate and say, oh, but pretty, I still have friends from from childhood, and bless your soul, that's beautiful. But I think for people who genuinely suffer from, for an example, I'll speak for myself. I have ADHD, and I know that a lot of the time I attract different people because that's who I am at that period. So when I think of support structures, I immediately think of an open field of all these people who have been there through the different periods in which I needed them to be there. Because remember, it's also a matter that is the support both ways? Because sometimes it could be that, oh yeah, I'm not getting support, but it's like, but you didn't say you need it. So it's also a matter that the people that I have made vocal to, that this is how I need them, and this is how I need them in my life at that particular point. So it's quite a broad one. It's quite a big one, I'll be honest with you. I think, especially if we touch on companionships, and remember, support structures it can come through friendship and relationships and family. It can come through all different forms, you know. Okay, now this brings us to our next point. We always speak about the type of people and the type of support structures you have. And I love this one. Does misery love company? I think I don't know, please, B, if you can expand on that for us. Does misery love company?
Well, it's a saying. I would say yes. Misery does love company. Yeah. It is very easy to kind of get into a connection with someone if you're both in a headspace that is not great, in the same vein as, you know, great minds think alike. So if someone's thinking more elevated thoughts and whatever, then someone who's on that bandwidth or on that frequency is going to understand, okay, we understand each other. So it's, I guess, if the world of emotions had like rhythms, then I do think that misery likes company. Yeah,
I agree, actually. I absolutely agree. And I mean, listen, this could be seen as what is it, blind leading the blind? It can be seen as that, but so does happiness. Happiness loves company as well, you know. And I think it's an emotion, and each and every emotion that we have, and each and every feeling that we have. I mean, so what if it attracts certain type of people within that? And I know sometimes how can I put this? Because immediately when I think of misery loves company, I think of you sitting next to a demon, and this demon is actually comforting you. But it goes back to my favorite quote that says, I said how to defeat your demons is that you don't fight them, you sit down and you learn their names. So learning their names is basically a way for you to kind of defeat them, because you can't fight something you don't know.
I love that. I love that.
Yes, maybe it might be blind leading the blind, but at the end of the day, you're getting to know what it is that you. I can't explain it actually. It's just it's a little bit harder to engage with people who don't understand how you're feeling at that time without you having to explain your heart out. So maybe that is the company that you need at that time.
Yeah, you attract your vibration. We attract what. I think there's a line from a movie / book. We attract the love we think we deserve.
Yes.
We feel we deserve. So yeah, I think blind leading the blind. Sometimes, when your support structures are, the natural people occurring around you and you're not in a great place, it can be not a great mix if you're not very intentional about what you need as a support structure. So
No, yeah.
So I'm just you're gonna have to take the lead here, because I don't know how I'm gonna segue.
I think, and also for me, support structures doesn't even need to be people. Support structure could be things.
I love that you said that.
It doesn't have to be human beings. It could be things. It could be our daily routine. It could be medication. It could be therapy. It could be our dogs.
Thank you for. Can I just shout out Atticus, my dog, who is she's my companion. We've been together for going on 3 years. I absolutely adore her. She's my angel baby. And people don't really understand. And the real ones who do, they get it. They get it, and they greet Atticus before they greet me. But yeah, that I have never found. I will never not have a dog since adopting Atticus. There will be no time in my life where I don't have a dog. I don't think. It just keeps me remembering, okay, food needs to happen, hygiene needs to happen, cleaning needs to happen. This time, 6 a.m. we wake up, we take out the bowl, we clean the bowl, So that is definitely a way that Atticus, just being around, has supported me in having a more regimented day. Just being a bit more of a grown-up.
Yeah, you see? And that is your support structure. So it doesn't even need to be human. It could be in any form that gives you a reason to actually want to get up in the morning. And even if that reason might not make sense to the rest of the world, but it makes sense to you for that moment. And we're not even talking about good or bad or healthy or whatever, because then we can turn around and be like, yeah, but people would turn to substance. I'm not advocating for substance abuse, but I'm just saying that the reality is people draw strength and need support from different things, and it's not necessarily human. So, and we get companionships from all these different things as well. People might find some solitude when it comes to music. That is what got them through the hardest times, is playing a particular song that reminds them who they are, reminds them of whoever gave them strength, or whatever the case might be. These people who go to gym, these people who dance. So these people who, we gravitate strength through different forms. So hence I'm saying that it doesn't have to be a human being, because for us to say family is the obvious choice. But what happens when you don't have family or you don't have friends? So, what would be the obvious choice? So, sometimes we find happiness through in most cases, unconventional ways. And it's okay. It's okay to remind ourselves that, listen, what made me happy 10 years ago might not make me happy right now. Right now, you will have to catch me dead in a club. If you catch me at a club, it's not me, it's a clone. Oh my goodness, I'm in bed by 9. Don't even know. But if you'd asked me 10 years ago, what do what gives you happiness? I'll be like, you know what? I just want to see myself on top of a bar and, having the time of my life, because that's what made sense then. But the more you get to know yourself, the more you understand yourself, the more you realize what is it that actually I need in order for me to start my healing process, or start the process of me getting out of the gunk that I'm in. So it's all on you, and it can have many faces, and it can change every day, because again, there is no manual when it comes to what exactly we draw strength from. There is no right or wrong, and don't let anybody make you feel inadequate for not having the same reality as theirs. Now, Tom, we talk a lot about our experience when it comes to receiving help from medical attention or medical assistance, or professional help rather. Let's just dive into this one for a moment. Do you think that therapy is a scam?
I don't think that therapy is a scam. No.
Yeah.
But it can end up being a lifelong relationship that may not be I don't know. I just know it's not necessarily a scam. I don't have that sort of feeling towards therapy. I just don't know what the returns are on investment.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's a tough one, especially if you have been exposed to therapy and if it has worked for you. We can't speak for everybody when it comes to that one, especially once again, because it's a matter of why you're going to therapy and what is the outcome that you're hoping to receive. Because therapy is not there, in my belief, it's not there to heal you. It's not there to give you answers. It's there to be with you while you're healing. It's assistance. It's not the solution. It's assistance while you get to your solution. And I think I had to go a couple of times for me to understand that. I used to be very pompous about therapy, and I used to think it was a scam and a joke, because when I first started going, it was like, I'm here to talk about myself. Okay, well, what if I make up a story? You can't tell me it's wrong. You don't know me. And I went there for all the wrong reasons, until you realize that why I never asked my question, why am I here? And what is my genuine outcome? So am I here because I just want to blow an hour because it was something that I'm supposed to do and it was ordered? Or am I here because I genuinely want the help and the assistance in order for me to help me understand the tools and the resources I have, and how those tools can actually help me to the healing process, and how I can start that process? Let's have that conversation. Why are you such an angry person? Why are you such a depressed person? Why are you sad? Let's understand those emotions a little bit deeper. So for you to come now and say, is therapy a scam? No. Ask me maybe a while back, I wouldn't really be for it, but now I'm an advocate for therapy. Yes, do it. If you have the finances to do it, of course, because it's not cheap, but there are, of course, once again, platforms where you can get therapy or counseling rather, at sometimes at no cost to you. And we're happy to share that information on our page as well. So I mean, at the end of the day, it can be seen as a luxury tool, once again, because of all the costs that come with therapy, especially your psychiatrists and all of that. Yes, there is a cost to it and can be seen as a luxury, but I mean, for me, I've always put my health first, and health comes at a cost because living is not cheap. So if you're going to see it as, oh, it's just a money making scheme, maybe it's because you haven't received and you haven't received your what you have invested in. But that is also another person's perception of it. So it's quite a tricky one. It's a matter of, why did you go to therapy? I know a lot of people who have been assisted by it, but also a lot of people turn around and be like, I received no help. I mean, we have a friend of ours who says it did absolutely nothing for her, you know, despite all the visits that were available for her, but it did nothing for her. So do you feel as if maybe people might also have that type of feeling towards it?
Yeah, I do. And I think leaning into what we don't say is that therapy doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it feels worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
So sometimes people go in expecting relief, and what they get first is exposure, memories, patterns, grief. It can feel like reopening something you worked very hard to survive. And that doesn't mean that it's failing. It means that it can mean that it's working. But yeah, something that we don't mention in terms of therapy is like, now it seems fashionable for people to like, it's a green flag if someone has gone to therapy. But
Yeah.
what's the nature of the therapy? Like, let's get a bit deeper. Because anyone can go to therapy and claim they're now all healed, but therapy is not just some like sitting down having a cup of tea. It's snot and tears and panic attacks and, you know, forgotten memories resurfacing. So it's not always pretty. So and I'd also say that not all therapists are going to be a great fit, and some get it wrong. So that could feed into the whole idea of therapy being a scam. Because sometimes as patients, we can forget that we have agency. If you don't trust the opinion of your first doctor, you can ask for a second opinion. And it's the same for therapists. Like, you might have to date around until you find one that you trust. So I think that that's something that we don't say.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's always darkest till it's dawn, and I love that, the fact that it's not always pretty. It can tear you down. It can tear you down. And I remember having a conversation with a friend quite a while back, and she turned around and I asked, I was like, how's therapy going? And she said, you know what, I stopped going to therapy. And I'm like, why? I thought it was working. She was like, it was, but I didn't like what it made me realize. So I'm like, what do you mean? And she said, because it made me realize how much I actually resent my mom. And when I started understanding where my anger is stemming from and where and how it's directed at, but because I can't direct it at that person, I spread it everywhere around me. When I realized the source, it broke me, because who wants to resent their mother? And I was like, whoa. And she's like, when I started understanding that, I stopped going. And not because I feel better and not because I don't need it, but because it broke me. And I was, people can turn around and be like, no, but that's good. Yes. She said it broke me. And the more it broke me, I realized why I'm broken. So it's hectic. It's hectic. So she's like, I had to try and now go back to, let me try and forgive my mom before I go back to therapy and uncover more, because I need to heal from this realization. So imagine now the perception and the relationship she has with the closest person she's been with all her life, and realizing that, oh my God, you're actually the source of my pain. So it's not always pretty, and it can be very hard, and it can break you down. But once you get over that hill, and it can take, and I think that's the thing about therapy, you can't say, oh, after 5 sessions. Some people have been in therapy for years, and they still haven't gotten to their happy. But it's a process, if you allow it to work, of course. If you allow it to work, because there's one thing you being in the therapist's office and you pouring out your heart, but immediately you leave the room, you're a fucking cunt. That's quite vulgarish. You are not a nice person. You're not a nice person when you leave. Then why you here there? Then you just literally just trying to show face. So it's all about if you apply it and if you let it happen and you let it work. So I absolutely agree. It's very necessary, and it's not, to some degree, it's not even a luxury. But yeah. So what could be the alternatives? No? I think when we think of alternatives, it's very closely related to support structures as a whole. Now, alternatives could be what I touched on, in terms of that our support structures don't need to necessarily be in human form. But what would you be in extension to that? What other alternatives would you be able to think about when we think of that?
Alternatives, well, I'm still stuck on the therapy side of this chat. I just wanted to lean in a little bit to that. Not all therapists are a good fit, because I've had experiences. It's like, it's dating. It is a dating game almost. In my experience, I think you found your therapists and it was just right. They were right for you. Everyone was almost like divinely appointed in the best way to support the various aspects of what your needs were. In my case, I was misdiagnosed or lazily diagnosed by a psychologist. I remember coming into our second session, and she was writing a text or a WhatsApp or whatever, and was basically, had that one finger up, like, just wait, let me finish this thing, as I'm sitting down. And then she proceeded to tell me that I have traits of narcissism with some traits of borderline personality. And I was just so taken aback, because the homework that she'd given me previously was for me to write a letter to my dead mother. And when I received this feedback after speaking this letter, that had taken quite a lot out of me emotionally to do, I thought, this is just, we are not meant for each other here, because you're not going to be able to help me if you think that, if you're going to call me a narcissist after during our appointment making me wait on you to finish sending a text because your time clearly has been indicated to be more valuable than my time. I don't know who I have narcissistic traits maybe, but I'm not about to, make a client wait because of some random text that I have to send before I tell them that they're a narcissist. Who's the narcissist in that situation is what I'm trying to say. And I moved therapists after that because you have to be an active participant in your therapy. You can't, it's not going to all float into your lap, or at least doesn't float into my lap. But yeah, it's even that exposure and gaining certain insights into how I am or how I may be perceived doesn't also necessarily mean that I change. So somebody can say, oof, I've been in therapy for 10 years, and because of the way our culture it's considered progressive to be someone who's gone to therapy, or at least in the Gen Z years. It's a bit harder for us to really say that going to therapy has resulted in a change in behavior, because you can see your patterns. Your patterns can be drawn in front of you, but will you change? Not necessarily. A lot of people can literally... I met someone when I was in hospital who was going through a very traumatic period, and she was doing things, and she was narrating what parts of her diagnosis were fueling certain acts that she was doing at that particular time. So she'd be like, okay, so this event, she'd been assaulted, and one of the things that she mentioned was, my bipolar manic side is really going today, and I'm going to finish this assignment from university. I'm going to find out whether this person actually likes me. They had a list of things, and then she'd say she was diagnosing herself as she's doing things that are self-destructive.
Jeez.
So she's like, yeah, I know this is part of my attachment style. I just need this person to feel like he's okay, even though he's the person who caused her harm. And she'll do it. She'll be like trying to make this person who's scum feel okay, because that's what her medical condition does. So just because we know what our medical condition causes us to act like doesn't necessarily mean we're going to stop acting in those ways, is what I'm trying to say through that story. So you can go to therapy, you can understand your deal, and you may not be able to take that third step of changing the things that are self-destructive.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm sitting here. I'm like, who is that? I know we can't say any names, but I'm just like, were we when we were all there, or when we weren't there? I'm trying to understand It was. Jeez. That is but that's true. I've met a couple of people who are like that, who actually use their condition to excuse their ill behavior. I'm sorry, no, it's just like people who use their star signs. I'm sorry, it's the Leo in me. No, you're being a bitch. No, no, listen. You're being a destructive bitch and you are making everybody angry. So stop. That's behavior. It has nothing to do with the fact that Mars is in retrograde. Who gives a shit? No, you being an asshole. So that is sometimes people do that. And I've worked with a couple of people who have. Oh my God, on a corporate basis it was so hard. You find somebody who's like, oh, I'm sorry, it's just my ADHD. No. We're all on meds here. None of us are trying to ruin anybody's lives. That is not an excuse. No, come here with your very entitled ass. That's no. So you go through that where people do utilize that, and it paints such a bad light on people who generally are seeking help, because you're seen as an attention seeker. It's same as therapy. People are like, I'm in therapy, and it is seen as if like it's a trend. But it's a matter. But you turn around and that person is still, they're still a very shitty person. So it's like, okay, so what is therapy doing for you? So is it to be liked? Is it for the sake of a little box that you're ticking that, hey, yeah, therapy is done? Or do you actually understand why it's there? Because trust me, if you understand why it's there and it's as raw as it needs to be, it's not something that you want to talk about because of how much it has stripped of you. I'm not saying it's going to be a secret, but it's going to be a matter that, you know what, I don't want to talk about this because it's actually quite personal, and it becomes personal. So if it's just a matter that, hey, it's just for clout, then guess it is a scam. Then it is there just to look good. Then it is just money-making scheme, of course, But I like what you said, the fact that it's all about getting the right kind of doctor. That is very important. And yes, I am absolutely blessed to have found a psychiatrist, and occupational therapist who were just on my wavelength, and they understood me, I understood them, and they were all there for different purposes. And I think that's what we also need to unpack, that help comes in different forms as well. And it's not just, they all had a particular process. Okay, I know when I go to this one, I just cry. When I go to this person, okay, this person makes me realize what's the meaning of life. That one makes me realize why I'm so angry. So it's just, they all play such a beautiful role. And because of that, that's why I'm definitely the advocate for therapy. But another person like your story, you had a different experience altogether. So, and I'm happy for our subscribers to also share their experience as well, and tell us that, how has therapy, if you have, has it helped you? Is it something that you have an interest in? Engage with us. Tell us where you stand in all of this, because it's conversations like these that are necessary, and it shouldn't only be conversations that only occur in closed spaces. But let's open up the chat. Let's open up it to everybody else as well. B, I'm about to close off. Any last statements?
I have a few things that I do need to lean into in what we don't say.
Go for it.
I think one thing is that healing can disrupt your relationships. That's something we don't say.
Yeah.
When you set boundaries, stop overfunctioning, or change how you respond, people around you may resist. Not because you're wrong, but because the dynamic is changing. And growth can feel like a loss before it feels like freedom.
Yeah.
So that's where, therapy might be working, but you have to also do the work. Another thing is, therapy is influenced by money, access, and inequality. Mm-hmm. So consistent, high-quality therapy is expensive. Many people are forced to self-heal with limited support. advice like just go to therapy can ignore real world constraints. And I have been to public hospitals where there are psychiatric wards. The access to that help it's difficult. It's difficult to come by. So it's available even if you can't afford it. The government does make it available, but you really have to push. And when you're already in a mental space when you're in a fragile mental space, you really have to have a lot of chutzpah to just keep pushing and trying to get the help that you need. Another thing that I think we don't say enough is that labels can help, but they also limit. A diagnosis can bring relief and language, but it can also box people in and make them feel stuck, because I am more than any label anyone has ever given me. Even if that label helps me make sense of some things. And some coping mechanisms that kept you alive aren't healthy long term. So avoidance, emotional shutdown, hyperindependence, these may have been necessary at one point. Therapy often asks you to loosen your grip on them, which can feel unsafe at first. And progress is not linear and can be painfully slow. I think that you've already mentioned this. There are weeks where nothing shifts, months where you regress, and then one quiet moment where you respond differently. And that's the change. And you don't always get closure. Not every wound gets a clean ending. Some work in therapy is learning how to live with unanswered questions or unresolved stories. And talking is only part of it. Living differently is the hardest part. So the real work happens outside the room, in how you speak to yourself, what you tolerate, what you choose again and again. That's what we don't say.
Oh, yes. I love it. I think my favorite, the favorite one that labels can help and also limit, where we say that you are not your diagnosis. You are what you say you are. If you say that I am depressed, that is all you see and that is all you feel. So what you say is I am going through depression. So it's something that you're experiencing and it's something that you can combat. So, no, that was beautiful. And thank you so much, B. I think you highlighted a lot of very important points. Once again, that people just don't say. And that is the truth, especially about healing can disrupt relationships. It can, absolutely. It's not pretty. Of course, it's a disruption and it's an entire carpet being lifted, an entire rug being pulled under your feet. So yes, of course, it's going to cause a couple of earthquakes and disruptions here and there. But it's necessary because healing is not pretty at all. But I am. Well, that's it for our episode today. B, I don't know, is that all? Anything else that you want to add in?
No, just peace and love.
Peace and love. And we leave you with those final words. Peace and love. And remember to be kind, because you never know when somebody might actually need your kindness. Thank you so much for joining us once again here on our podcast called The Things We Don't Say. Don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel. You can also follow us now on TikTok. We are having a Facebook page coming up as well. I'm happy to share those deets as well. You guys can go like, share, and subscribe as much as you can. But thank you so much once again for joining us. B, my beautiful Belina, thank you once again. It's been a very interesting conversation. But like I said, let's continue this conversation in our comments. But have yourself a beautiful evening, or whatever time that you do decide to listen to us. But have yourself a beautiful evening. From my side here, the rainy side of the east, B, have yourself a beautiful evening.
Thank you so much, Pretty. You too. And you guys also just take care, stay warm, and know you're not alone.
Absolutely not alone. All right, well, that's it from us. Until next time, bye.